Some exciting presentations last week, and we've got another exciting presentation this week. This week is from Titan, well known probably most for their escorted touring, but increasingly for the river cruises and things that they offer. It's funny really, when I think about Titan, I always think about their people and how friendly and nice they are and how great they are to work with. And you kind of think, well, is that particularly important for you if you're booking a holiday with them? And I guess for me, it's when you look at the boss, the boss is a guy called Andy Squirrel, who's the managing director of Titan. He's a lovely, lovely guy. And the reason why that's important, and it's quite interesting during the pandemic that we've had over the last 10 months, is what we found is whenever there has been issues in any way with any Titan holidays or trips, Andy and his team are always helping. Their attitude is always to look after to customers because they're genuinely nice people and have a genuine interest in looking after people. And I think, that is why dealing with people like Titan, we absolutely enjoy, because their people are very similar to ours. They just got customers at their heart of everything they do, which is absolutely crucial. Not only that, they have really, really good holidays that they offer. So I won't waffle any longer. I'll introduce you to Michelle. Michelle is local on our patch. She'll probably no doubt tell us where she's doing this from, but she's local to us, and she's been with Titan a good old while and knows their products exceptionally well. So as I always say, if there are any questions, you can use the chat facility at the bottom of the screen. You simply click that, type a question in, and I'll make sure we pick that up at the end of Michelle's presentation. So Michelle, over to you.
Hi, okay, thank you. Oh, I don't know if everyone can hear me, so can I have a thumbs up? Hey, everyone can hear me? Brilliant, super. Yeah. So yeah, I'm down in the southwest. I'm in Tiverton in mid-Devon. Currently freezing my garage actually, so I'm very lucky that I actually have a work from home space, but it's a bit on the nippy side. So I'm very much looking forward to getting back to holidays, and I'm sure the rest of you are. I have got a lovely presentation. I've got several little videos that are going to play, so hopefully they'll all work and the tech will do what it's meant to do today. And then I'll answer any questions at the end, but hopefully I just want to inspire you all a little bit to get back to that year of the holiday, which is what we're all talking about at the minute. So let's see if the tech works now. Right, so I'm hoping now that you can all see a lovely green screen with an elephant on. Wonderful. So let's get this started then.
Titan's all about the love of travel. Everybody who works here has a real passion. We all love to go and explore new places, see new things, and really that's what Titan's all about. It's about bringing the magic of the world to life for our customers. Unbelievable, just magic.
As near perfection as it gets.
I was just overwhelmed.
Exhilarating.
Breathtaking. Fabulous.
Spiritual. Experience to behold. This is our 6th Titan tour.
They really look after you well, I've got to say. Sometimes certain experiences you get once in a lifetime moments.
So that's it, our perfect moment shared. And this really is what Titan are all about. So why escorted touring? So our knowledge and expertise with a tour, you've got a ready-made itinerary that's been very carefully put together by people who know the destination inside and out. They know what to see, what to skip, they know the routes to take, the hotels to stay in, and trying to organise this kind of complex itinerary on your own can be quite overwhelming. So a tour takes all that stress away. And with a tour, you know that you're actually getting a lot of value for money. So we've got experience-led itineraries. It's not just about passive sightseeing anymore. It's about helping you to immerse yourself in a destination. We know that you want to taste things, you want to make and do things. So we're providing a lot more hands-on experiences on our tours. So wine tasting, cooking classes, opportunities to spend sort of a morning on a rural farm in Vietnam, or have a coffee with a local family in Ethiopia. So, and that's not just relevant for the tours either. On the river cruises, people are increasingly looking for more experience-led itineraries, such as certain interests like music or art tours as well. There's also a lot of reassurance about booking an escorted tour. So with a tour, you can go off the beaten track, but still have the reassurance of traveling with others. So the tour managers are on hand 24 hours a day, should you have anything happen. Language barriers, parking problems, navigating the unfamiliar roads, knowing when to visit certain sites or whether you need to buy tickets in advance. None of this is a problem on the tour. It's no surprise really that touring's such a popular option for solo travellers now as well. As well as security and reassurance, they're travelling with like-minded people. So they have a ready-made group of travel companions. Often one of the biggest worries for our solo travellers is about being on their own, which ties nicely into the social aspect. So our customers often tell us it's the social aspect of a tour that makes it the most enjoyable. It's why we've now changed our strapline, and it's perfect moments shared. A lot of them like to talk about their experience they've had that day. So comparing photos, chatting over meals. Some don't, and that's okay too. Some people prefer to keep themselves to themselves, and that's the great thing with a tour. You can be as sociable as you want to be. But we've had customers meet their future spouses on there, so husbands and wives on tours. We've also got others that have made lifelong friends where they travel together year on year on year, and build up beautiful friendships, which is great. But why Titan? Well, we've got a multitude of awards and over 40 years experience to name. We're an escorted tour specialist, and we are determined to curate and offer the very best escorted tours. So while keeping all of our customers safe, well and happy, our Titan Protection Promise has been created to make sure that you feel safe and secure when you choose to travel with us. From ensuring that we've got a clean environment throughout, following current social distancing guidelines, and prioritising your health and well-being, we're continuing to monitor the situation and to make sure that you have a worry-free holiday. Now, when it comes to booking a holiday, there's always that age-old debate. Do you reserve your space and book early, or are you happy to hold out in the hope of a last-minute deal? Well, we're happy to take the stress out of that for you as well. We've introduced our early bird promise. So with this, our price promise is included on every single holiday. It means that you're always guaranteed the best possible price the earlier you book. And the prices of our holidays do tend to go up the closer to departure that you get. So the early bird promise says if you book early, but in the event that we reduce the cost of your holiday after you've booked, we're going to get in touch with your travel agent and we're going to refund the difference back to you. So if you've not paid your balance, it just means your balance goes down. If you have paid your balance, that's going to be a refund back to your card or your cash, however you've paid. So that's a real reassurance, certainly now that we're booking so far in advance into 2022. Our 2022 holidays have gone on sale earlier this year than ever before. And then our VIP door-to-door, travel with us and your holiday starts from the moment you step out your front door. There's no worry about taxi fares, train timetables, or having to lug your bags on public transport. We're taking care of the whole journey for you. So hassle-free bookings and unlimited changes are part of our protection promise now. So we've got our flexi deposit, that's just £49 at the moment, and you can book a holiday with us, and if you want to do a change beforehand, you can do so with confidence. So it allows you to make unlimited changes up to final departure date, so up to final payment date with no additional fees. Now, if we have to cancel your holiday, you can switch to another date or tour. Now, any changes in prices will be told at the time, but you can opt for a full cash refund, and we'll do that within 14 days. No questions, no credit notes, and that's guaranteed. We're also ABTA and ATOL bonded, so your money is safe with us as well. Now, I know we've had lots of questions lately about COVID guidelines and cleanliness, so I just wanted to tell you a little bit about the cleanliness routine that we are implementing on the coaches and excursions. So all drivers are going to be fully trained to ensure that they follow the strict hygiene standards. Hand sanitizer will be provided and must be used before entering and leaving the coaches. You will need to wear a face covering on board, and we may need to restrict our seat rotation policy, meaning your seat will be assigned on the coach. Coaches will be rigorously cleaned before each journey, and the frequent touch points sanitised multiple times a day, including handrails, tables and doors. Where possible, the fresh air will circulate within the coach as frequently as possible, and we'll also ensure air filters are checked, cleaned and replaced regularly. We'll use sanitised personal audio devices on excursions where possible to adhere to the social distancing rules. And I just want to say, I love these audio devices. I don't know if any of you've used them before, but it's a little earpiece that goes in your ear and you can hear the tour manager talk about the destination and you'd be up to 100 metres away from him. So this really is, I mean, I've always said it's a great way to walk at your own pace and enjoy the scenery. You can be looking at something while the group is looking at something else. But right now, with the social distancing in place, this really is a bit of a winner for us, I think, because you're not going to have to be clustered together trying to hear a tour guide shout over the local noise because you've got that earpiece. We're also ensuring that all the attractions we visit adhere to local requirements on hygiene and social distancing. Some attractions you may well need to wear your face coverings as well. So we are award winning, and I do just want to shout about this. It seems a little boastful, but actually we are the most decorated travel escorted tours company in the UK. So we won 20 awards, including 7 golds at the British Travel Awards. We've been voted the best escorted tours operator by the Telegraph Travel Readers. We've also got good housekeeping reader recommendations with 95% of their customers who've travelled with us rating us as good or excellent. We won the best mainstream touring company at the Travel Weekly Globes back in January 19. Unfortunately, the 2020 awards didn't go ahead due to COVID. We were very happy to think that we'd won again, but see, who knows, next year, this year, hopefully. It's an award that we really do take very seriously. It's an industry leading award, so it's really important to us. And on Review, which is our review site, every tour, every interaction that you have with Titan, you will be sent a review link to review what we do. And these are really, really important to how we grade our holidays as well. 98% of our customers say that you travel with us again, which really I think is a testament to the tours themselves. So this is our VIP video. For anyone that hasn't travelled with us, this is what you can expect right from your front door. So there are no single supplements on the VIP and there are no mileage restrictions. It doesn't matter where in the UK you live, you will be picked up from your front door. This is Mark. He's one of our lovely drivers. He was actually my driver on my tour. So this is not actors, these are real people. Now, not every transfer is private. You may share the VIP with another couple potentially. However, from the West Country, we are very lucky that most journeys are private, although we won't guarantee it. If you want to guarantee a private journey, there is an option to upgrade and your travel agent can organise that for you, although there will be a small charge towards that. Once you arrive at the airport, you are greeted at Heathrow and Gatwick with our airport reps just inside the terminal building, and they'll help guide you through the check-in process as well. So the Titan product range, as Miles said, we're not just assorted tours anymore. I think that is the thing that we're most known for, and that's wonderful because it is the key product that we offer, but we do offer a wide range of other products. So river cruises, I'll touch on more in a little while, are Stay and Explore holidays. Now, these are holidays, packages that stay in just 1 or 2 hotels. They're designed to let you delve deeper into the destination. Each itinerary has been carefully planned to cover each place's highlights as well as some hidden gems, and includes a selection of excursions so you can make the most of the location and your time there. Now, there's plenty of choice when it comes to Stay and Explore holidays. You can go in search of the Northern Lights in Iceland, or you can discover Italy's picture perfect lakes and history-laced cities. You can soak up Switzerland's dramatic mountain scenery by rail, or just enjoy the sights and the sands of the sunny Greek islands. And if you're looking for something a little closer to home, we've got some great value UK short breaks, and they'll take you everywhere from the tropical gardens of Cornwall to the Lake District that inspired likes of Alfred Wainwright. We also offer ocean cruises. Now, we don't own any ships. This is with our cruise partners. Now, ocean cruising is a wonderful way to see the world. You can take to the open seas and you can discover historic cities, idyllic islands, remote landscapes. You could sail in the lap of luxury, or you can opt for great value cruises where the destinations themselves do the talking. You can experience the romance of traditional tall ship sailing, or adventures of an expedition cruise, or embark on an epic voyage, or squeeze in a short trip closer to home. So we have partnerships with the likes of Royal Clipper for the tall seas. Fred Olsen's one of our main partners for ocean cruising, but we also have things like the Hurtigruten cruises, which will take you up through the fjords and up to the tip of the Antarctic. Over the last few years, small group touring really has taken on a life of its own. So our small group tours of up to 24 travellers offer unique and immersive experiences. So when travelling new and exciting destinations, there's many advantages to travelling on one of the small group escorted tours. For a start, you'll spend your days enjoying a more intimate and social atmosphere on the holiday, and you may well find that like-minded fellow travellers soon become firm friends. It's also much easier for smaller groups to meet local people in more personal and informal settings, such as sitting down for a meal with a local Nepalese family. You also get to experience rewarding off the beaten track destinations and activities that would be a bit impractical for larger group tours, such as searching for the silverback gorillas in the wilds of Uganda. Now, we offer a selection of escorted tours where groups are limited to the maximum of 24. So that includes things like the South African Safari Adventure, the Great Apes of Uganda I've just mentioned, and our Wild Costa Rica tour. And then our solo holidays. So travel solo, but never alone. Traveling on your own and escorted holidays is a fantastic way to travel. Having a group of like-minded people to share the trip's moments with you makes it that much more special. Plus, you have the peace of mind that everything's taken care of, from the itinerary details to the airport transfers. Now, we welcome thousands of travellers on our holidays every year, and our solo tours are exclusive for those travelling by themselves. On each one, we include a drinks reception hosted by the tour manager on the first night, so that you can get to know the rest of your group. And then the tour manager is on hand throughout to make sure everything in the group gets the best out of the holiday. But if you prefer to travel within a larger group, that's okay as well, and lots of tours with no or low single supplements. The little video now of our solos.
As a single traveller, Titan is a good thing for me to come on because people are so friendly when you're on your own, and generally there is another single traveller there. And a lot of ladies come together, so they'll befriend you and you befriend them, but just everybody is so friendly.
I've heard good reports from people who've been on a Titan holiday, so I knew that they looked after you very well.
It's a nice way of meeting up with other people. Increasingly so, I found more singles, widows going on.
In the evening, I went out with 6 widows, and we had a very interesting, a very enjoyable evening. And that's what I like about holidays, meeting people and having a good laugh.
I've got a fantastic coach, which is really good. Some of my fellow passengers might have made me laugh. This is the first holiday that I've ever done like this. It's a really good experience and I would do it again.
One of the big draws was the single supplement. For this trip, they're not charging us anything extra, and I've got a very big room.
We have a lot of single travellers that come with us on holiday, and so we are always looking to develop and expand the number of holidays we can offer.
I found Titan very, very friendly, been looked after the whole of the way. I could definitely recommend Titan, and I would look at them again if I was going to travel, for sure.
I find Titan very, very professional. Everyone I spoke to were absolutely first class.
There's some of my most favourite customers on that one. There's the lovely Caroline, who actually is a Tiverton lady. Back when I was a travel agent many moons ago, I actually booked her first Titan tour. And then George, who does enjoy his Titan trips. I think he's up into the 60s now for how many times he's travelled with us. So I did say I was going to talk to you a little bit more about river cruising, and we have a variety of river cruise partners, but it's not really difficult to see why river cruise trips have grown in popularity. There isn't a better way to experience a unique viewpoint of an area than passing it by slowly along in a riverboat. You get the chance to soak up and take in the scenery as it changes before your eyes, and the chance to flow gently into the heart of some of the most beautiful cities and towns in the world. With Titan, you have a wide variety of ships and cruise styles to suit all tastes and budgets. So we have two of our own ships, MS River Discovery 2 and MS Serenade 1. Now, I've been lucky enough to travel on Serenade 1 a couple of times now and absolutely love it. Genuinely didn't think that river cruising was going to be for me all those years ago when I first started, and was hooked from the first day. Absolutely love it. Now, we also have partnerships with people like Crozier Europe, who have some wonderful river barges on the French rivers, Lochner Cruises, the American Queen in the Steamboat Company out in Mississippi, the Volga Dream in Russia for the high-end river cruises in Russia, and then we've got the Douro Azul, which is the Spirit Chartwell ship out on the Douro River in Portugal. So I'm going to share with you our, as long as this works. Yeah, this is our river cruise director, Gavin, talking a little bit about river cruising.
Hello, my name is Gavin Wood, and I'm a Titan cruise director. The best part of being a cruise director is to see the pleasure on people's faces. At the end of the cruise, they really enjoyed themselves, and they come to you and they say, "Thank you very much for all your help. It's made a big difference to the holiday." Oh, so many of them, but I suppose one of my favourites would be sailing into Budapest. People see the Parliament buildings there, especially at night. All the bridges are lit up. It's really, really impressive. People really enjoy that. Oh, it's fascinating. So many stories, people's experience, different ages, different backgrounds. It's really, really enjoyable part of the job, actually. It's all about organisation, planning, knowing what you've got set up for the day, looking at what could go wrong and having plans in place just in case that happens. It's really all about organisation and planning. Well, the first.
I think I'm going to skip that video. It doesn't seem to be working very well technically wise. Very sorry about that. So river cruises, you can wake up to a different view each morning, whether that's a hillside vineyard one day, a cathedral crowned town the next, or you can sit up on deck as you round the bend and reveal a fairy tale castle. You'll step off the ship straight into the heart of each destination. There's no need for transfers or lengthy shuttle bus services. River cruising really is a fantastic way to experience a region. In most cases on Titan's river cruises, you moor in or close to the centre of a town, meaning more time to explore, less time travelling. And the scenery is constantly changing, with the most stunning stretches of waterway usually sailed through in daylight hours. You can really appreciate them. With excellent dining on board, where wine and beer are included with every meal, elegant and spacious cabins, as well as entertainment, including cookery demonstrations, river cruises are a fantastic way to travel at a more leisurely pace. Some of our best river cruises sail along the scenic waterways of the Rhine and the Danube. And on our exclusive cruise charters, MS Serenade 1 and MS River Discovery 2, you can explore the beauty of Portugal's Douro, or a little further afield, you can do Cairo, Alexandria in the Nile cruise, or voyage along the mighty Mississippi on the American Queen. Now, the pictures here that I'm showing you, they're pictures I've taken on my river cruises. So MS Serenade 1 is at the top there. That was the one that was trying to be featured in the video that I've just played you. This is a 4-star ship. She got 63 cabins, 136 passengers maximum on board. Really lovely ship. And actually really, say, my first experience of river cruising, and I really fell in love with her. She doesn't pertain to be a 5-star ship. The standards and service on board certainly reflect a very high standard, but she is an older ship. So I think you have to get on board and understand that with her. However, she has been designed with the British traveller in mind. She's exclusive to Titan, which means that she only sails with Titan customers on board on all of our sailings. So there's no language barriers on board this ship, and all the meals and menus have been designed around the British palate. Now, we use local flavours, local ingredients at every stop. So when in Germany, you can expect to see some Germany-inspired cuisine. When in France, you'll get the French-inspired cuisine, but there'll always be something to our local palate as well. All the entertainment's also in English, which makes that nice and easy. And little things like there's tea and coffee in your rooms available, and there's also a 24-hour coffee station available up on deck for you. Nice and exclusive to Serenade 1 is the fact that every single cabin has a bath as well as a shower as well, which is just an extra little touch. Now, River Discovery 2, that's our new ship this year. Now, she is being marketed as a 4-star ship. She's come to us from an American company who marketed her as a 5-star. So there is a slight upgrade in terms of standards between Serenade and River Discovery, and the prices do reflect that. Cabins are slightly larger, and there's certainly more outdoor space on the River Discovery too. I was due to go out and visit her in Vienna last April, but unfortunately COVID got in the way of that. So I'm hoping to get there later this year. But absolutely stunning ship from all my colleagues that did get to go and see her earlier in the year last year. And the feedback so far from customers is fantastic. So we're looking forward to those sailings going later this year. So with that in mind, I don't know about you, but I'm missing holidays. I have a real wanderlust for life, and working for Titan's given me some fabulous opportunities. Normally I'd talk about trips and things, but actually what I've done this year is I've looked back at places I've been lucky enough to travel to and looked at the tours that we offer. So in September 2018, I did our India's Golden Triangle Ranthambore trip, and all of these photos are mine. So they're not professional quality, they're literally taken from my iPhone. But this tour, when I was offered it from work, I've got to say, I didn't jump at it. India was not on my bucket list. It wasn't a destination I'd ever really fancied. And I don't know why. I love the world and I like to explore, but India just didn't really feature. I'm so glad that my boss went, Michelle, you're going to India, because I fell in love with the place. Now, this tour, it's a great introduction to India because it combines the 3 cities of the Golden Triangle, and you get a couple of days down in Ranthambore National Park. So you journey in a loop from Delhi, and you get to tick off the highlights such as obviously Taj Mahal. You get the fort and the pink-hued palaces of Jaipur. You also get 3 safari drives in Ranthambore when we go in search of the park's elusive Bengal tiger, as well as looking out for things like leopards, sloth bears, monkeys, and all manner of bird life. Now, I'm really pleased to say that on my second safari drive of the 3, we actually did see the Bengal tigers. And I'm not an overly emotional person generally, but I've got to say, I cried. It was the most magical moment as we just saw the tip of this tail appear out the woods, and then out he walked. This massive, and I can't say enough, massive tiger. And it was a moment. When you talk about perfect moments shared, this was. And I remember sitting in that Jeep with those 6 people around me, and we were all just stunned into silence, and say many of us were teary as we just watched it walk right past us, and then it leant up against the tree and scratched its paws, and it was just a moment for me. And that probably strangely overshadowed my trip to the Taj Mahal. The Taj Mahal was amazing. That tour, we did it in reverse. So where you would normally go in the mornings, we actually went in the evening. So when we arrived, it was really quite busy, but we stayed through till sunset. So it really quietened out, and by the end of the trip, the picture that I've taken that you can see in the bottom right corner was just as the sun was starting to set and the Taj Mahal itself started to quieten down. So we had a really quite peaceful sort of 45 minutes of just sitting and enjoying it and watching the sunset, and that was magical. And it's quite a funny one because I remember sitting there feeling a little underwhelmed by the Taj Mahal there. And yet now when I look back at my pictures or when I see it appear on the TV, it really catches my breath to go, oh my God, I was there, I've seen that. And it is a wow moment for me. But Bengal tiger the day before, that was it. So on this trip, it's fantastic. It's a 10-day tour and it starts from just 1,899 per person. It includes 10 excursions and visits. So you get city tours in the new and old Delhi and in Jaipur. Obviously the visit to the Taj Mahal, you get the Agra Fort, and I'm not going to mispronounce the next one, so allow that one. You get the journey by train between Agra and Ranthambore as well. Now this is a real experience. It is a locals train. You have seats allocated, so there's no scrabbling around. You're not going to be expected to hang off the top of the train or out the doors. And it's lovely service. We actually shared the carriage with a school, and that was great to see locals interacting. We got lots of attention from the children on the coach. They all found us quite intriguing. But that's a couple of hours. It was nice to be able to relax and watch the countryside pass on that trip. Then down to Ranthambore for the 3 game drives. We're really lucky by having those 3 drives. The chances of seeing the tigers are massive. We have very few trips that come away having not seen a tiger. Again, we also pick times of the year to travel when we know the weather's good, it's not too hot, it's not too rainy, so you can really enjoy the destination, and also to try and make sure you maximise those chances of seeing the tigers. You get 8 nights in hotels on this trip and 1 in-flight. 18 meals included, so there's not a lot of extras on this trip, which makes it really good value for money. You've got breakfast every day, dinner every day, and I think you've only got a couple of lunches in between to buy at the local stops, and there's certainly plenty of choice for that. I've got to say, food was probably a slight concern for me going out to India. I have some food allergies. They were all dealt with brilliantly, and a real wide selection. Yes, there's a lot of curry. It's a very vegan-based diet over there as well, but there was meat available. So when we go to buffets in the UK, you tend to see a small section for the vegetarians and a massive meat selection. It's almost in reverse in India. So a large variety of vegetarian dishes and then a small section for non-vegetarian. I do enjoy meat, so I did eat in the non-vegetarian section a lot of the time. I enjoyed a lot of the chicken, and that was great. No food concerns, and there was some Western options available in some of the hotels as well for those that didn't want to eat curry, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Although breakfast pretty much was as you would expect, of sort of breads, cheeses, eggs, etc. It was a normal spread for breakfast each morning. This tour also has the benefit of not only your Titan tour manager, but a local tour guide as well. And this really brings your destination to life. Our local tour guide on my trip was called Abby, and he was able to bring all the local culture and heritage to life, the local stories, and that really added to the tour for me. Next up, Best of Australia. Now, I have a real passion for this destination, and I've been really fortunate to travel there a number of times. I've never, unfortunately, my boss has never sent me out on the Best of Australia trip. I've not been able to do the whole trip, but I have done segments of the trip, and I think I'm on my 5th journey back to Australia now. So it's a country as big as your imagination. It has it all. Cosmopolitan cities, reef fringe coastline, terracotta deserts, ancient rainforests. And this epic introductory tour ticks off all the icons. So you get to see Uluru or Ayers Rock, the Great Barrier Reef, Sydney Harbour, and the Great Ocean Road. We take it at a leisurely pace so you can really appreciate each stop. So there's time to meet the kangaroos and the koalas in Adelaide, and time to relax on Queensland's famous beaches. I actually managed to do an extra bit in Queensland, and I got a surf lesson in, which was great fun. Now, as I say, I didn't get to do the whole 22 days when I did this trip. I actually attended a conference in Brisbane, did a couple of days sightseeing up in Queensland and New South Wales, and then I headed inland to the Northern Territories and Red Centre, and I did that section of the tour. and I've got to say, really, really amazed. The Red Centre is just spectacular. It's a small segment on the tour where you get to see Uluru, you get to see Katajuta, the Valley of the Winds, you get to experience sunset and sunrise, and we've got some amazing excursions included on this trip. So 17 excursions and visits. You get the city tours in Melbourne, Adelaide, Alice Springs and Sydney. You get to do the Dandenong Mountains with the steam trade ride, Phillip Island. You get wine tours, I say Katajuta and the Aboriginal Park. The Great Ocean Road, which is just amazing. I really love this, to see those 12 apostles, and the stops along there as you go are just amazing. You also get the Uluru sunrise and sunset viewing and the Field of Light installation. Now, this was meant to be a short-lived attraction. It's been extended and extended and extended, and it's something that until you've stood there in the Field of Light and seen it for yourself, you cannot comprehend what it looks like, because basically they've installed tiny colourful lights over fields and fields and fields of Uluru. So you visit at night and you can walk through these fields and see all the light changes. It's just spectacular, and to have that against the backdrop of that beautiful Australian night sky is just wonderful. Really enjoyed that. Would thoroughly recommend that experience to everybody. It's great because it's so well lit at floor level, so even if you're slightly less mobile, you can really take that at your own time. You've got a couple of hours to walk it, so there's no rush. You also get the outer Great Barrier Reef experience. Now, this is great because you can go out onto the platform, the floating platform, you can swim, you can dive, you can snorkel, or for those that don't even want to get wet, they've got an underwater viewing area. So that's a great one. You get to do the Corunda Scenic Railway and the Sydney Harbour Cruise. So all those little things you think, if I went to Australia, I'd like to do. I think we've ticked most of them off on this trip. It's 19 nights and hotels, 2 overnight flights. You've got breakfast every day on this, as well as a couple of lunches and dinners included. Again, VIP tour managers. Now, again, we're using local guides in different areas. You don't have one local guide travel with you throughout Australia. And it'd be a bit like if I said to you, I'm coming to Bristol for the day and I can take you around there. But actually, if I go and travel to Edinburgh, I'm not the expert there, and I would want somebody a little bit more expert. And Australia is a great example of this. So we take on local guides down in the Melbourne and Adelaide area, who then change when we get up to the Red Centre, who change again when we go up to Cairns, so that you really have got a local experience in that area that's bringing their local history, their local heritage, their stories, the best places to eat to life for you. Now, that tour starts from 5,699 per person, say 17 excursions. It's 22 days from door to door for you and 21 meals included. And this is my last trip. Who knew when I went on this trip that this was going to be my last trip abroad? But what a trip it was. Footsteps of the Incas. I've actually been in love with Peru since I studied the Incas at primary school. So when this trip came up, I absolutely couldn't turn it down. It's got the archaeological treasures weaved seamlessly among sweeping, unspoiled valleys and the mountain scenery of the Andes. Into that, the mix of the vibrant and friendly locals who were a highlight for me. You'll soon realise there's so much more to discover than just llamas and knitted chulos in Peru. So you'll explore coastal capital Lima. You get to go looking for the condors over the vast Colca Canyon before gliding through tranquil waters of Lake Titicaca and travelling to the mountaintop of Machu Picchu and discovering the Peruvian history and legend along the way. Now, that's the lovely blurb that comes in the brochure. I don't think it does it justice. This was a destination that when I try and talk about Peru, I end up saying the word spectacular a lot. And I don't think you can overuse this word when you come to Peru. It really was spectacular. To watch the condors flying over the vast Colca Canyon one morning was just amazing. To see llamas roaming freely around Machu Picchu was just odd. To stand against those massive built walls by the Incas and the Chinca terraces was just amazing. But really, the people were what did Peru for me. So this tour, 16 days, it starts from 3,299, and it's a really good inclusive package on this one. So 12 excursions and visits. So you get your city tours in Lima, Arequipa and Cusco. And I think I spend all my time going Cusco, Arequipa, which was my favourite. They were both amazing, but I do think that Arequipa possibly was my favourite city. You get entrance to the Larco Museum and the Santa Catalina Monastery. Now, I'm not a massive history buff. I'm certainly not a big fan of walking around churches every day, but the Santa Catalina Monastery was an amazing experience, and it really allowed you to understand the history of Peru. And the entrance to the Larco Museum to see all the antiquities there was amazing, and the gold. As I've already mentioned, the visit to the Colca Canyon and the Cruz del Condor was just a memory that will live with me forever. I remember as we walked up to the Cruz del Condor, and I went scrambling over the rocks to get to the edge, which was completely unnecessary. The Colca Canyon is as deep as the volcano that stands towering above it. It is just one of those things you cannot really imagine till you're trying to, in my case, hang your head over the side and have a look. But then to watch the condors come soaring out on those thermals out of there was amazing. We had 5 or 6 condors flying around us, and we certainly had enough time to just sit and enjoy that. We then had the train down to, between Puno and Cusco, and then we went up to the Lake Titicaca. Now, I don't know if anybody's seen this on one of the travel programs recently, but the Uros floating islands. These are islands made out of reeds. The inhabitants actually make and replace their island regularly by the reed beds. And these people just live on these islands all day and night, all year round. So we had a little boat trip across Lake Titicaca to join the island. And when you step off the boat and onto the reed beds, you realise that these islands really are floating. So they're still moving. So as the boats moor up, and obviously you get the wake of the boat, the whole island moves. A very odd experience for me. We got to see all the locals there. So we met the village elder. He introduced us to his wife. We watched a cooking demonstration there. We watched the girls braiding each other's hair, the children playing. That was just a really chilled out day. Obviously, there's a lot of altitude in Peru, so it was really nice to have a calm and relaxing day and allow us to acclimatise to the altitude there. And I think that was something that was really well planned in this itinerary, that as you move on from destination, as you go up through the altitudes, you're given time to adjust to that. And we had a really varied group. We had a very young, fit young lady through to a very overweight older gentleman, and a lady who amazed me at 70 years old, was a chain smoker, literally was going through 40 or 50 cigarettes a day, even at altitude, and didn't suffer once with any altitude sickness. So yeah, it was a real variety there with that trip. I think for me though, the bit, and I think for everybody that goes to Peru, Machu Picchu, it is everything you expect and more. So that picture that we all see of Machu Picchu, it was exactly like that. It was like walking into a picture book. Now, getting to Machu Picchu is a bit of a journey. So we'd already come down by train. You then join the bus and you go up through the mountains. And that bus ride through the mountains is not for the faint-hearted, I've got to say. There's some sheer drops, but those drivers are amazing. And it was a fabulous drive up. And then you arrive, and we've obviously already got our pre-booked tickets in. So you walk straight on through the queues, and it just opens up in front of you. Now, again, there's an audio guide, so you can really immerse yourself in Machu Picchu and understand what it is you're seeing and what you're walking amongst. You can wander at leisure, and there was plenty of time to do that. I managed to get all the way up to the Sun Gate, which was just spectacular, but that's up to you how much you do and how little you do when you're up there. And then we came back down by bus and had a wonderful meal just at the bottom of Machu Picchu. This trip, I think, was probably one of my favourites all time. And I say I'm very well travelled, I'm very lucky and fortunate, but Peru, an absolute must for me. So what's next? I don't know about everybody else. I've been watching Greg Wallace on the TV for the South Africa programme, and I have fallen in love. Now, my boss did Sensational South Africa a couple of years ago, so I got to see all of her personal photos. And I think as soon as I'm allowed, that's my next trip. Now, I've got a bit excited for 2021. I already have 5 holidays booked. So I'm having to add to this list constantly. But Sensational South Africa, 14 days, and it's only 2,899 per person. 10 excursions included on this one. You get Pretoria, you get visits to the Voortrekker Monument, Pilgrim's Rest, God's Window. You get the game drives in Kruger to go in search of the Big Five, which is at the top of my bucket list at the minute. You've got, and I'm going to say, Tutankhamun National Park, Storms River, the Garden Route. You've got the Featherbed Nature Reserve. You get to visit the ostrich farm for anyone brave enough that wants to go riding an ostrich. That's an option there for you. Spectacular Route 62, and then obviously Cape Town. You include the cable car ride up into Table Mountain as well, weather permitting. We also have got the tours to Cape of Good Hope, Cape Point, including Boulders Beach. And again, great one for meals included. You've got 16 meals on this, breakfast every day, 4 dinners and a lunch. So a really good value tour. In Kruger, we use the local Kruger game drive drivers as well, so you really get the most out of that. And we've had lots of sightings of leopards, which is the most sought after little animal there. That's a bit of a tricky one to see. Next on the list for me, Cuba. One that I've always wanted to see. It's a 12-day tour. It's 2,799 per person. It's got 11 excursions and visits included on there. Obviously, Havana. You've got the Cuba cigar factory, you've got museums, a rum factory. You even get a cocktail making class on that one. And again, this one's got a lot of meals included, 29 meals, breakfast, lunch and dinner every single day of the tour. I added another one of these tours in this morning. I only added in Essential Vietnam and Cambodia this morning after watching our Facebook video. One of my colleagues, Adam, who I think is on the call actually, went to Vietnam and Cambodia last year as a tour. Now this is a 14-day tour, it's 2,499. If you'd like to be inspired, do look up the Facebook post. It's got this lovely video of Adam talking through the trip himself. But you've got 2 half-day tours, Hanoi, you've got Halong Bay Cruise, you've got the walking tour of Hoi An, you've got a tour of the Hoi An countryside as well, cruise on the Saigon River, you've got the Chuti Channels and a city tour of Ho Chi Minh City. And obviously Angkor Wat is the prize on this one. Again, another one with plenty of meals included. You've got 42 meals, 20 breakfasts, 15 lunches, 7 dinners on this tour. And then for those that want to stay a little bit closer to home, I have touched on the Stay and Explore, but this is my favourite of the Stay and Explore holidays. I'm an absolutely massive fan of Italy. And the Southern Shores of Lake Garda is an 8-day tour, 7 nights in 1 hotel. So no touring, no packing up, no moving on. It's 1,279 per person, still includes your VIP, but it also includes 4 excursions. So this really is a wonderful way to get the most out of the Lake Garda area. So you get visits to Venice and Verona, a tour on Lake Garda itself, as well as a trip into the Dolomites, including the cable car ride. I just feel like this is the complete package for Lake Garda. Everything that you could think that you might want to do there, we've included, but it's all in 1 hotel. It's like any other package holiday, but your excursions are included on that one. So brochures, where you can see all of these holidays. These are our current brochures. Now we know it's not exactly easy to pop into your local Miles Morgan and pick up a brochure at the moment. So we have set up a system with them. If you call your local branch, they are all working from home at the moment, as I understand, and they will be able to order you a copy of the brochure and we will post it direct from Titan to your home. So just let them know which brochures you want ordering and obviously your address, and they will get that organised for you and they should be with you within a couple of days. Obviously, Miles Morgan are all still working, so they can take you through any tours that you are interested in and get those priced up and quoted for you immediately. And we do have a little thank you for sitting and listening to me harp on for the last hour. So we are offering every Miles Morgan booking a £50 lifestyle voucher for any bookings made by the 31st of January. That's up until the end of Sunday. Now those vouchers can be spent in a variety of high street stores as well as online. And that's just a little way of saying thank you for booking Titan with Miles Morgan. They are a massive partner for us and a key agent in the Southwest. So I've got a bit of a video now that I'm going to play, but I'm going to wait until after we've done the questions and answers because it goes on a little bit and not everybody will want to see that. So I'm going to stop sharing. So let's see how this works now. You all see me again? Okay. Miles, where do I find your chat with any questions?
Well, I can't see any at the bottom there, so I don't know whether anybody's got any. Please feel free to pop any in the bottom if you have a question. Please do that. Michelle, I can happily fill in the gap for you on South Africa. I'm a guy lucky enough to have travelled there a few times, and it doesn't disappoint. And actually, one of the things I would say about South Africa is it isn't the safest country in the world. And therefore, you know, being on an escorted tour is one of the ideal options for a place like South Africa. Cape Town is a wonderful, wonderful city. Table Mountain is totally stunning. You know, the waterfront is an amazing place to visit, but you don't go around that part of the world, you know, late into the evening in the dark around Cape Town. It's simply not the place you want to do that in. But as a city, it is stunning, and it is beautiful. And obviously from there, you know, I went out and did Stellenbosch and Franschhoek and the Winelands. Again, if you haven't done that, it is an amazing experience. I then went up and did Joburg. Again, it's an interesting place, not one you would dwell on, particularly Joburg. And then I went out to a place called Sun City, which is probably best described as a kind of Las Vegas in South Africa. It's the strangest place, one of the strangest places I've ever been to. You simply drive along and then all of a sudden you arrive at this completely manufactured place full of huge hotels. There's a water park there. It's just a bizarre sort of place. And really, if you're going to see culture and the real South Africa, wouldn't be on my list to go again. But it's worth mentioning because it's different. It's certainly different. And then, of course, Michelle, the bit you'd be really interested in, I then went up to Kruger. And did some game drives. I was lucky enough to see all of the Big Five, which was amazing, and also lucky enough to stay. And if anybody wants to have a little Google of this place, I stayed at a wonderful lodge called Lion Sands, which was just out of this world. You know, I had my own little plunge pool, and while I was sat around my plunge pool, just the other side of that was all the water, and you could see all the animals coming down for a drink. You know, elephants. It was just out of this world. And I think for anybody, if you've not been to South Africa, it is a place to definitely get on your list. One thing that people don't think about much that's worth mentioning is it's on a very similar timeline to us. So unlike a lot of the destinations, you don't get severe jet lag as a result of going to South Africa, because I think that the time change is only an hour or two. So it's not significant. So that's worth bearing in mind as well. It means, you know, you really do hit the ground running. Whereas I think a lot of you will know, you know, if you go across to the States and Canada, it does wipe you out for the first couple of days while you sort of recondition yourself to it. But Michelle, keep that on your list because it's well worth it.
Next. It's definitely next. And just to put on that, in terms of Cape Town, our hotel is on the waterfront when we're in Cape Town as well. So location for our hotels is always important. So that's a definite. So you're right there in the heart of it. And when we go up and do Kruger, you've got a couple of options. But if you do the sensational South Africa tour, it's Mala Mala for the private game reserve as well, which, like Lion Sands, it's a real world-class resort.
You've got some questions. Are you doing train journeys in 2022?
Yes, we have slimmed down the programme for 2022 as a result of COVID, which is a shame. We were at one point at 400 tolls. I think this year we're at about 250. Train journeys are featuring within tours. We don't have any complete rail holidays for next year, but they will be coming back. It's something that we are taking feedback on. But you have got one of the Australia tours for next year is looking to have the Garn in it. You've got Tracks of Africa in South Africa, which has got the Rovos Rail journey in as well. So there's some lovely ones. Certainly Switzerland, we have a big programme of train holidays there with Glacier Express and the Bonnier Express.
I mean, a lot of you will know we sell Great Rail Journeys, and we used to do an awful lot with Great Rail Journeys. Unfortunately, during the course of the pandemic, I talked about how well Titan had behaved. Great Rail Journeys were one of the people where sourcing refunds for our customers was just like pulling teeth. And so whilst anybody wanting to book one, we will book one for a customer, it isn't a company we're going to work strongly with in the future because quite honestly, the way they behaved was appalling. We simply couldn't get customers' money. And the only way you can react to that is by acting and moving your business as somebody that does value customers more strongly. It was and it was surprising because they were a good partner of ours and we valued the relationship, but not the way they behaved, unlike Titan, who have been brilliant. Do you do excursions to Robin Island, says Karen?
Now, I've got to say off the top of my head, I don't know the exact answer. Yes, I know that we have done. I would have to look up the detail to make sure on the current tours there's timings for that one, because there is a timing issue with Robin Island in terms of the transfer. It has happened in the past. If you're particularly looking to do that tour, what I would say is when you speak to Miles Morgan, if you ask them to speak to the Res team, they will look up the excursion list for you and confirm that, just to make sure, because on certain dates, the travel times are slightly different.
Okay, another question for you. Do you do meals for people with autism on your tours? And also, do you have an age limit on your tours for young adults?
Okay, so no, there's no age limit. We welcome anybody on our tours. I think you could see in one of those videos, we had quite a variety of young and old people. We don't encourage children on escorted tours just because of the type of tour it is and the journey times. But that said, if somebody's got an older teen and they want to book, we will allow them, but we don't give any child discounts, so it is normal adult price for them. In terms of the autism question, it's quite an interesting one. It's a very personal one for me because my teenage son's got autism. All meal types are accounted for. So I would say is you do have to look at the destination you're traveling to. So if you go to China, you are going to eat a predominantly Chinese menu. If you go to India, it's going to be local cuisine throughout, but there are always Western options for you available pretty much. I myself have massive food allergies. I'm allergic to cheese, tomato, eggs, which causes us problems all over. On every tour that I've ever travelled with, we've been very well catered for. We deal with celiacs and gluten-free diets as well now as a matter of course. So what I would say is when you're booking, we'll have a special needs form that you can do and we can pop that through. I guess with autism, it's such a wide range of issues that can affect people. So what I would say is we need to look at that specific to your requests of what you want out of the meals.
And then the final one, this one's probably, oh, hang on, there's another one coming. I was just going to say the final one, but we've had another one come in. Do you offer private airport transfers on your Lake Garda tours, says Jane?
No, generally, once you land in, you are met as a group. However, if you use the regional flights, so if the main tour is flying from London and you choose to use the regional flight out of Bristol to Lake Garda, which is an option, then you will still get a transfer included. That may be private. Now, if you choose to, you could request a private transfer and that'll be an extra supplement for you. Yes, you can have private, but generally it's a group transfer included once you land.
Okay, the final question is probably more for me. It's from Peter. And oh, hang on. No, with that, another question comes in. Oh, no, it's Jane saying thank you. Peter's question is a belter. The more we read, the less chances of 2021 trips abroad seem possible. Any comments? Peter, that's an absolutely great question and the question on everybody's lips at the moment. And funnily enough, straight after this call, I'm doing a Zoom with Points West for this evening's programme about pretty much the same subject, because obviously there's an awful lot in the news this morning about hotel quarantines and what it's all going to mean. I think the answer is there's an awful lot of uncertainty at the moment. And because of that, what we're seeing as a business is pretty much no bookings whatsoever taking place for the first half of 2021. And almost as the months go by, July, August, September, the bookings come in stronger and stronger. And 2022, for most travel businesses I talk to, is selling incredibly well. So it's almost a confidence point where 2022, there's very strong confidence and the confidence erodes. What do I think is going to happen? I think it hinges on a couple of really important things. The vaccination program is clearly going well, which is wonderful news. They don't know when you've had the vaccination, whether that still allows you to get COVID and pass COVID on. Once they know that, that will have a huge bearing on travel. Secondly, they're looking at the new variants and whether or not the new variants are resistant or not to the vaccines that they have. Obviously, Moderna have come out and said that the Brazilian and South African variants, they can cover that as part of their vaccination. And so I think, again, once that's become clear, that will also open up travel. And so what do I think? I think they'll make a strong call today. I think Priti Patel's making the announcement at 2:30, I think. And I think they'll make a strong call and maybe stop travel up until Easter, almost completely potentially. And from there on, what will they do? I think it depends what the scientists say and what they uncover as a result of all the testing they're currently doing. And I think that will then sort of either open things up or not. I think from a personal perspective, the imperative is get control of this virus. You know, the number of deaths is quite scary for all of us. And I think that is the imperative. And, you know, even though travel is my business, I'm supportive of doing anything that gets this thing under control, because, you know, for our industry to restart, we need to start with a solid base of people feeling comfortable about traveling. And without that, it doesn't happen. And so it's a confidence thing in terms of booking, but certainly 2022, back half of 2021, there is confidence. Would I personally book a Titan tour for the first half of 2021? No, I wouldn't. And that's just being honest, I wouldn't. Would I book one for 2022? Absolutely. No doubt I would. And so that's where I think it's at. But I think in terms of travel for 2021 in general, there's an awful lot still to go on. And it will probably be dictated by the scientists and what they find out over the next few weeks and months, really. But that's a really good question, Peter, because that is the question everybody wants to know the answer to.
What I can tell you from Titan's point of view is we made a call really early on. So back last year, we cancelled everything through to August in March. We've moved that on constantly. So at the moment, we've cancelled every tour up until the end of March. Our first tour due to go is April. The expectation, I know there's lots of meetings going on at head office today, whether or not those tours are cancelled entirely for April as well. That news will filter through later today, I imagine. We are taking bookings from May onwards, but what we are seeing is the vast people that are or were booked for May 21 have already started requesting those changes. As balance due dates start to roll in, they're moving later into 21, as Miles has just said, and certainly into 2022. What we are seeing for our 2022 holidays is we've already got tours that have completely sold out, which is great for us. It's a confidence boost, as you say, Miles, to customers. It's great for us to see those tours. And we are seeing those early booking guarantees. Using the flexi deposits, people are able to move and change and get the benefits of that and the confidence. What I would say is if you're booking for July onwards, I think you could probably do that with a reasonable amount of confidence that the tour should run, should you choose to travel. But if you book and then you choose that you don't wish to travel before you balance, use that flexi deposit and you can move those dates on. So, yeah.
I think all of the holiday companies realise that nobody is going to book if there isn't an element of flexibility to allow them to cancel it or move it if they're nervous about travelling, you know, because it isn't fair to put anybody in that position. You know, fundamentally, holidays are about enjoyment. And nobody wants to be going on them thinking, oh, I don't know whether we should be doing this. You know, I'm scared about doing this. I'm worried about doing this. That's not a holiday. You know, that's not what it's about. And so, you know, the companies recognize that and are putting in flexibility, because you all know, you know, if you cancel or change your holiday within, you know, a couple of weeks of departure, you're likely to lose most of your money, or they charge a fortune to move it. And that's the sort of thing that they've completely changed now, because they understand people won't buy on that basis. They simply won't, and rightly not to buy on that basis. So flexibility is built in now to most companies' travel arrangements, which is all important.
I have just spotted the last question. So this have Saga required vaccination for cruise travellers? Will we? No, is the answer so far. If you book a cruise through us and the cruise line insists on mandatory vaccine, then that's something that obviously we will pass across to you. But in terms of at the moment, the decision was raised as a question early on, and the decision was made that actually we feel customers have to have choice about their own health. So whilst we've got good COVID measures in place for cleanliness and hygiene, we will not at the moment, obviously things can change as time goes on, but at the moment the decision is we will not require mandatory vaccination to join one of our tours.
I think it's a strange thing to do for Titan to do at the moment, because if you think about it logically, it doesn't really mean very much for anybody other than the person that's had the vaccination, because, you know, at the moment you can still get COVID and pass COVID on until the scientists have confirmed whether that is or isn't the case. for them to bring it in, if they found that anybody vaccinated cannot get it or pass it on, it is a huge, huge deal. And I would absolutely applaud it. And you can understand, because then you can go on their trip knowing it's almost a COVID secure environment that you're in. But at the moment, until they've said what's going to happen, you don't really know. So I thought it was a bit of a, if I'm honest, I thought it was a bit of an odd move so early on. But they make their own decisions, don't they?
I think you have to accept that Saga have a very different customer base as well, where they're an over 50s only company. The vast majority of their customers will be vaccinated by early spring anyway. And the cruise ships, bear in mind that they've not done it for escorted touring, it is their cruise ships that they've mandatory on. They're a different environment entirely. So I can understand their viewpoint on it. It's not something that we're going to follow though.
Very good. Well, thank you, Michelle. Thank you, everybody, for joining. I hope you enjoyed it. I mean, certainly from my perspective, as with all of these ones, I just look at travel and trips and all those lovely stuff in India and think, one day. And hopefully for all of us, it won't be long away. I think we can't wait. But Michelle, thank you very much. Appreciate your time this morning, and I hope everybody enjoyed it. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. He can't see you. But I did unmute us so he could hear us. Thank you.
Thank you.